Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the CISO Corner, where we talk about everything security and compliance. I'm Dane Dittemore with DataBank, and I'm joined by our Chief Information Security Officer, Mark Haupt, and our very special guest this morning, David Aviv, Radware CTO and VP of Advanced Solutions. David comes to us today from Tel Aviv. He lives in Tel Aviv in Israel. David, tell me a little bit about yourself, who you work for, all that good stuff, and a little bit about your background.
Hi, thank you for having me here. Thank you all. And my name is David Aviv. I'm Radware Chief Technology Officer. I'm with Radware for the last 19 years, so it's quite a long period.
Yeah.
And in the last 8 years, I'm the Chief Technology Officer. And I'm almost 3 decades in the IT and networking business in the security, also background from the military service up to now. And as such, we are in Radware providing solutions, obviously, for denial of service, protecting networks, protecting applications, various platforms. I would like to start with actually the evolution of the DDoS attack. I mean, up to, let's say, a year and a half, when you said DDoS, it was almost all the time, as we say, network DDoS. There are 3-4 attacks on the network. But in the last year and a half, we are seeing the evolution of these DDoS attacks into what we call the web DDoS, or what we call the web tsunami. This is part of the recent tools that attackers are using and resulting of the conflict between, the geopolitical conflict, especially Russia and Ukraine. And it's aimed against your web application platform. So if we were targeting before the network platform or the network fabric, now the DDoS is what we call the layer 7 DDoS, which is aiming against your web application platform, and in which attacks are coming from many places with almost legitimate transactions, killing the state of the application platform. So the battlefield is evolving from the bit per second, packet per second, to the request per second.
And I think, David, I think that's absolutely important for our listeners to understand, is that traditionally the DDoS attacks have been exactly what you're talking about. They were trying to flood a network. So if you had 1 gig of network traffic, their goal was to flood that pipe so that the web server on the other side would become unavailable. And ultimately, the customer with the web server, whether they're in a cloud environment or in a hosting environment, they really wouldn't see a problem on their server. They would see a problem with the network provider, the internet service provider. But what you're saying is, in the last 1.5 to 2 years thereabouts, we've actually seen that transition downwards right to the application. And for the customer that's having to deal with the DDoS attack, correct me if I'm wrong, but that really changes their perspective, because we used to combat DDoS attacks through volumetric type of tools, and now we really have to look at DDoS as a web application firewall, a web application attack tool. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely right. Because the way we used to detect the network flood was usually through NetFlow. NetFlow detection. Now, when you start running the request per second attack, this is a totally different prisma. If you look at the NetFlow, you won't see anything, a small blip. So all the tools we are using for network floods are completely blind when we come to the layer 7 floods. And those are vicious attacks.
How do we use Radware's services and software to protect our clients?
Great question, and I'll introduce to you what we use at DataBank, what we resell of Radwares, and then maybe David can give just a quick understanding of those. So we offer a couple of DDoS protection tools. One is an on-premise device called Defense Pro, where for very large enterprise customers, it can be a dedicated hardware device that's put into the customer's environment, whether that be managed services or co-location, but typically it's in a co-location type of customer, which is a large portion of our business. We also have cloud-based DDoS protection, where we can shunt the traffic or route the traffic through the Radware DDoS protection tools out in the cloud before it even reaches the DataBank network, which is an incredible tool to help us protect the environment, and for not only for our customers, but also for DataBank itself. So it's a good partnership between DataBank and our customers as we move forward. And then not necessarily a tool that is utilized for DDoS, but as David says, some of these additional web application attacks are coming on. We also offer a second Radware tool that will focus on that layer 7 web application firewall, web application security that David was talking about. So we can put all of these on as part of an architected environment from the very beginning when a customer comes into DataBank.
If you're listening and would like to be notified when the next CISO Corner podcast is released, just click the subscribe button and notification bell on the YouTube channel. And if you have a topic that you'd like Mark and I to cover in the future, just drop us an email at CISO@databank.com. That's CISO@databank.com. And that's a wrap for today. As always, be safe and stay secure.